Welcome back. With Governor Ron DeSantis gearing up to punish the Broward School District because they instituted a mask mandate, I spoke to the chair of the Broward School Board, Dr. Rosalind Osgood. We started with Broward students getting back to the classroom this week.
Jim, I was very excited on the first day of school on Wednesday. I was able to visit 7 schools. It was quite refreshing to see our staff, to see our students. Our teachers were just so excited to receive the students back. The students were so glad to be interacting with each other. It made me really feel very happy that our board, 8 out of 9 of us, took the stance to mandate masks. At the end of the day, we had 1 teacher and 1 student that refused to wear a mask, and we followed our discipline policy where we asked the student to put on a mask. We asked the teacher refused, so the teacher was sent home, and will then have a due process hearing the next morning, and then we'll follow the disciplinary matrix because we feel that it is critically important in the midst of this pandemic that we do everything we can to protect our students and our staffs from the pandemic while focusing on education and trying to help accelerate student learning because of the dramatic impact that COVID has had on students and their families.
Now, the 1 school board member you mentioned was all but 1 of you voted for the mask mandate. Lori Aldeff is the school board member who voted against the mask mandate, even though I think she supports the idea. She said that she couldn't vote for it because it would violate state law given the governor's executive order. That was the basis of her voting against the mask mandate. Why doesn't that point have validity for you? If the governor signs an executive order and this is the law in the state of Florida, why are you able to? Why do you think you can preempt that law?
Well, Jim, personally, I believe that all laws are legal until they're challenged in court. Being a Black woman, I remember a time that slavery was legal and we had to fight to make it illegal. It was not the right thing to do. When I think about this whole issue of the law, particularly as it relates to parents' rights, when I put my 6-year-old granddaughter Kyla and my 17-month-old grandbaby Gabriel in a car, I have to put them in a car seat and I have to put the seatbelt over them. I don't have a right of choice. When my individual right puts others in harm and danger, then it takes away that right. So in no circumstances am I ever going to follow or agree with the law that could potentially cause the life of somebody else. The moral outcome of that, somebody getting sick with COVID or being killed or having a lifelong complication because I made a policy decision to put their life at risk, will never be okay with me. And I'm going to say I'm willing to pay whatever penalty I have to if my salary is taken away, if I'm removed from office, whatever the consequence is to protect somebody's lives. I just believe as a moral human being that people's lives are invaluable. And I just can't follow a law that's going to hurt them.
Have you seen, to what extent have you seen parents withdraw their children from the public school system and seek to move them to either private schools or a charter school, or take a voucher and move their child as a result of this decision? Have you gotten any early indication as to how many parents have made that choice?
Yeah, yesterday we had a small number of parents, and I don't recall what that number is, but it was very small. When we think about it, most of the private schools, Catholic private schools, I reached out to several of them, they're requiring masks. Some of the charter schools are requiring masks. No school district wants to have school disrupted. We learned during the pandemic that our students did not do well virtually. We learned that suicide rates increased, their mental health was really at jeopardy, and they didn't have the support services that they get in a school setting with the meals, the nurturing from teachers and staff, the mentorship. So we believe wholeheartedly that they need to be back in school face to face. And we believe that we can do that safely with masks. So when the parent has an option to pull out and go to a private school or another school with the Hope Scholarship because they don't want to wear their student to wear a mask, they make that option. Or they could do Broward virtual or Florida virtual in that sense. But there's more parents who want mask mandate. I had several conversations with parents on the first day of school who were very grateful and expressed to me how they felt more comfortable sending their children to school with the mask mandate, and just outright told me that if we didn't mandate the mask, they would have just kept the child home because they don't want to put their children at risk.
Well, one of the things that I think has been so fascinating about this is, policy butting directly up against the health of students. And you saw the governor's policy be supported by Hillsborough County initially. And as a result of not having a mask mandate in Hillsborough County schools, I think there are more than 10,000 students that are in some form of quarantine, and more than 300 or 400 teachers and staff who are as well, because they've been in contact with someone who has now tested positive for COVID. That then prompted the Hillsborough School Board to now issue a mask mandate. They tried it without the mandate. They saw the failure of it. Now they've gone to a mask mandate, and theoretically, Hillsborough will be sanctioned just like you will be sanctioned.
Yeah, we were not willing to take that risk. We were really hoping that the governor would have worked with us from the other perspective. We agreed to mandate masks and revisit it after the Labor Day holiday. So we were really hoping that we would have an opportunity to try our plan, get some results, some data, and if it didn't work, we could change it. See how many parents wanted to opt out, see actually what would happen. We were not given that opportunity. We began to be bullied and get these threats, but we stuck to what we felt was the best policy-making decision to protect the lives of the people that we serve. We're not willing to risk somebody getting COVID, Jim. Many people are dying from COVID. There are people that have had COVID that now have lifelong problems with their lungs, with their hearts. Think about a child that's under 12 that does not have an opportunity for a vaccination, that they come into a school system where people are not wearing masks, and God forbid they get COVID, they get sick, and now their life is impacted forever. When as a school board member, I could have made a decision to offer them a level of protection or put something in place to mitigate that likelihood of them getting COVID, and I chose not to do that.
Let me just ask you this. Earlier, you said that you don't like the fact that the district seems to have been, I think the word you used was bullied. Do you consider the governor to be a bully on this issue?
I do. If we were able to sit down and talk through some of these issues, we could come to a resolution. To be so strong about the mask option and not coming to the table to listen and hear and at least explore alternatives. It's just one way. You either do it this way, and if you don't, I'm going to punish you. Well, that's how bullies do. That's intimidation. And it's not the way to do public policy, because it puts your local school board in a position to have to go against you publicly, because they have to protect and serve the people that they've been elected to serve. You can't put people's lives in jeopardy with this whole mask mandate thing and having masks be optional. You just can't do it.
We'll be right back.